everybody, Mark Agnesi here for Gibson TV. Today, I'm in Los Angeles, California, outside the studio of my friend guitarist, Dweezil Zappa. Now, when you grow up with Eddie Van Halen as your mentor and Frank Zappa as your father, chances are pretty good your taste in guitars are going to steer a little on the odd side, and definitely heavily modified. What you're about to see may shock you. This is The Collection with Dweezil Zappa.
Greetings.
Dude, what's up?
Well, I'm going to need a password to get past the Sasquatch prevention cage.
New England clam chowder.
Good enough.
Yeah, it worked.
Come on
What's
in.
happening, buddy?
How
Good
are
to
you?
see you.
You too?
All right, man, we're here in the studio. This is a pretty incredible room you got here.
Thanks. I, as a kid, always kind of liked, if you look up black and white imagery, it's all Illuminati, which I'm not part of. But yet, the backgammon thing always looked cool to me as a kid, you know, on a backgammon board game. But then you would see it in a bowling alley.
Yeah.
But it had a kind of like, I think it was even in like the Jetsons, you know, it has like that futuristic retro thing, which just appeals to me.
We've got a lot of guitars to look at today.
Yeah.
When did you get into guitars? It was a musical family, but when did you finally start to pick it up?
I got a guitar when I was about 6 or 7, and it was a Music Man. I mean, not a Music Man, the Fender one that was
Music
like
Master.
Music Master.
Yeah.
And so the small scale one, it was kind of like a Duosonic, you know, similar to that. And I would just kind of bang on the strings and make some noise with it, but I didn't really know how to do anything with it. I liked the sound of guitar, and I was always fascinated watching my dad play guitar. And I used to see him at concerts and be mesmerized by it. And at some point, I figured that would be something that I would do. But it wasn't until I was 12 that I started actually hearing music other than my dad's that I could hear and think to myself, I can envision doing that. My dad's music was so complex, and I loved it, but I listened to it and I would think, you got to know stuff to be able to do that. You know, that's complicated. And not that Van Halen, for example, is not complicated, because it's hard to play and it's complex in its own way. But the sound of it was so specific, and it was so guitar, and it was so like energizing that I was like, I gotta figure this stuff out. So I went straight to trying to learn lead guitar. Like, I didn't learn chords.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything. I was like, I go straight for eruption, you know?
Yeah. Oh, man. This is going to be fun, man. There's a lot of
Going down
stuff.
the rabbit hole.
Where do we even start?
I don't know. Do you want to open cases and do reveals, or you want to see what's in the little guitar boat first? It's up to you.
You know I like cracking cases, man. Can we open up a case really
Yeah.
quick? Where should we start?
I don't even know what's in them, so let's find
Start
out.
with this one right here.
Yeah. Let's see what we have. I'm terrible. I always put cases or guitars back in cases the wrong way. Yeah, this one is the main guitar that I played for probably the first 10 years of touring, playing my dad's music. And it was before Gibson made the Roxy guitar.
Yeah, the reissue
So
one,
this
yeah.
was, a lot of people always thought that the Roxy guitar was more of like this walnut color because it photographed that way. So this is a really stock guitar, except that I put this little switch in it so that I could get that out of phase sound.
Yeah.
You know, of all the guitars that I have, this is the one that probably got the frets most abused. I usually don't have any problems with that, but this one got played so much.
Do you gravitate towards SGs? Is that where you feel most at home?
Well, the thing is, I started off more of like a Strat or a Charvel
Super
Strat
Strat, yeah.
style player. And when I started playing on the SG, it was a little foreign because your arm is moved a little this way, like your picking is more forward, but yet you have more freedom here. Mm-hmm. So I had to change a lot about what I was doing technique-wise to learn a lot of the things I wanted to learn in my dad's music. And it became that the SG was the easiest to play the hard stuff on.
Yeah.
Plus, I changed so much about the way that I was playing in terms of like grouping the notes. I do a lot of stuff where it's like 3 notes, 1 note, 3 notes, 1 note, 3 notes. And that kind of stretch stuff that happens when you stretch a little bit more on the Strat, it's like it's harder for your fingers, and it's just harder to execute some of the hard parts. So, but this one, I mean, it's a stock guitar, but it's
just a custom shop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Custom shop SG.
But it really is a nice one. I mean, you can see it's
well broken in.
Yeah.
Very cool, man.
What I do to match some of my dad's sounds, he had a sound that was called the Dynaflanger sound, which there was a piece of equipment that was basically, you can make it a flanger or a phaser, but it has an envelope portion. So that means if you hit it, it will trigger, it'll have like a slope to it. So you could modulate a sound, make it go out of tune, which he did. It would go sharp, then flat, then back to pitch. If you use the wah pedal on it, that's when it starts to get like really weird. So you get this automatic doubling, but it has this weird feeling. Like try playing on it and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's like it's alive. You're playing into the sound.
That's wild, dude.
But it's like really expressive, right?
Totally.
You can play and you're reacting to things in the moment. That's what my dad loved to do, was just like have these moments where he could play and something would happen that was unexpected, and it was like that's the only time that will ever happen for that audience or for him in that moment. And that's why it's a really fun sound to play on.
Stay in the brown case section here. It looks like we got another SG.
I think I know what that is. Yeah,
that's cool. What are these pickups?
These are McNelly pickups, a guy from Canada who makes all kinds of really cool stuff. But this was a real beater of a just standard SG that there's a guy in Mississippi who has a company called Lucky Town Customs. I wanted an SG that had some P90 pickups in it, and these are like a P90 style.
The gold foil?
Yeah, he did this to this guitar. He customized, he basically got like a not so great SG, because like the neck is,
Is it like a 70s something?
I don't even know what
SG
I don't
Deluxe or something like that?
I don't know which one it actually is, because it's one that he ended up putting better parts on it, and like this is like a futuristic retro kind of.
Yeah, silver's killer with all the checking on it.
Yeah, and then this pick guard that's custom made for it,
How much of your dad's gear do you still have in your collection?
Well, the thing is, I don't have a lot of it, and that's because of the way the Zappa Family Trust ended up dealing with things. But the things that I learned over a period of time, what he used, how he used it, it's more important to have the knowledge of the equipment and how to use it than to have the actual piece.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to reverse engineering sounds and things, I asked a lot of questions as a kid, because that was my connection to him, was music and guitar, and all this stuff. So I would be in the studio whenever I could to ask him questions when it wasn't interrupting him working. And he would get an idea of, say, I want to make this sound. And then he would find people that could help him get to that place with stuff. And once he knew how to do it, he could do it. But it wasn't an immediate thing of like, oh, I know exactly how to make this sound. When Steve Vai was in his band, Steve would be in the studio, they'd be working on getting a guitar sound for a long time. And Steve once asked my dad why it was taking so long. And he was saying, because you want to have the sound, the finished sound, as you are recording, which people don't really do.
Try and chase it after the fact. Yeah.
Yeah. So you try to find the right frequency range. And my dad was very, very good at arranging material, not only with the instrumentation, but then to have it be very clear in the mix. Well, this one,
This case looks a little bit like it's seen some road.
It's I think some rats have eaten it up.
Road rats,
yeah.
one or the other.
Yeah, but the guitar itself, this is the actual Roxy SG. This is my dad's guitar.
Wait, this is the one that's on the cover of all the stuff.
And it looks a little different because at some point, TWA, back when TWA was an airline, they damaged the guitar and there was a little bit of a crack that ran through the body. So my dad still wanted to be able to play the guitar, but he didn't like the crack. So they put this silver pick guard on it. But these definitely are like tone knobs and different things that are preamp related. Pickup selection and phase reversal, and I think this is the standard one that knocks these out of phase.
I mean, of all your dad's guitars, is this probably one of the more used ones, or was he? Because it's definitely one of the ones he's probably photographed with.
Well, the thing about it started as an SG special. It had like P90s in it, right?
Yeah, dot inlays, bound neck. Yeah, it's a special.
And so he must have really liked the neck, because this guitar got changed over so many times to become, a different instrument.
What all is that going on with all of this extra switching and things that were added?
This stuff is the same as what when Gibson made the Roxy SG, they made like, I think, 250 of them or something. We didn't do any of this electronic stuff in it because that's not what was happening at the time of the Roxy. So this was the holdover from that, which was that you could have these go out of phase, and then this made this one a single coil
tap.
Some of these are like a parametric EQ, like sweepable.
That's what the batteries run.
Sweepable, but there was also a gain circuit in here. So this is just volume, and then one of these is going to be like this extra added gain. One of the other SGs, the Baby Snakes SG, which I don't have, that used to have a green ringer in it. And so
fuzz?
It's like an octave fuzz thing. So if you hit two notes and you did something like this, the notes would go the opposite direction. So you'd have this like really weird, like beating effect
built into the guitar.
Yeah.
What's the story with the veneer on the headstock being natural?
That is the part that I do not really know. And this one, it looks like it's smaller and beat up, compared.
Lost some of its mass around the edges there.
Yes, it has somehow. But check out the action on this. My dad used to play 7 through 38 back in the. Back in the day. So these are,
I don't know if it can
these
get
are
lower
nines.
than that.
Yeah, these are nines on here, but 7 through 38 with this guitar, and then this looks like an add-on.
Heel repair at some point.
But you got the like.
Yeah, I got the little cracks here.
But these little
pearl dots.
Yeah, the pearl dots. I don't.
Brad Zappa history right there.
Yeah, this is a pretty heavy-duty guitar because it was the Apostrophe and Overnight Sensation guitar as well. So like Cosmic Debris and all these different things that this guitar did. But again, like he must have really liked it because it just sort of transformed like at least 3 times.
Like Eddie Van Halen, your dad was also a notorious guitar modifier and was always chasing things. What are you in your journey as a guitarist? Are you a tinkerer? Do you like to switch things out, mess with sounds like that on the guitars themselves?
The guitars over the over the years of playing, it used to be more that whatever guitar I picked up, it was going to make me play a certain way, and I was happy with that. I didn't need to change too much of it for the feel or the sound. I would just adopt whatever that was. When I started playing my dad's music a lot, I noticed that some of the things were so hard to play that I needed some more consistency with certain instruments. So I was going to need a backup of a guitar, maybe even two backups of a guitar in case something happened to it. When you're playing that stuff that's so hard and you suddenly switch to a different guitar you've never played on, you suddenly can't play that music because it doesn't feel right. So I hadn't experienced that before until I started playing my dad's music as much as I was. I did end up tinkering with some SGs because at a certain point, that guitar became the most comfortable to play, but if we're playing a bunch of music that all segues together and we might have 40 minutes of music without taking any breaks, and I need to have a bunch of other different sounds, I needed the SG to have some more flexibility in terms of sound. So I did tinker with a few of them and put in like Sustainiacs and piezo pickups so that I could have a combination of different things and I could play songs from different eras and still have it be in the right context. This is probably not what you're going to expect to see in a Tweed case. You're not going to expect to see this at all anyway, because this is just a weird guitar.
Okay. What? Is that a Cooney Performance?
Yeah.
Oh.
Now,
Banana, man. Banana, yeah. What?
Banana, but then really have a close look at the frets.
What? What the hell is that? Is that the biggest 0 fret in the world, or is that dot? I'm confused.
So look at the 12th fret. It's split in two. Some of these frets are split in two because this is a microtonal instrument, but only at times, only in certain sections.
What?
Yeah, it's bizarre. I mean, I'm not used to playing it yet. I haven't spent enough time with it, but we should plug it in and hear what it sounds like because it, in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
It's weird, right?
What would you use this?
Well, the thing
This is not for playing the pentatonic blues scale.
Well, the
really.
thing is, with this, my goal would be to find like a cool, almost like a funk lick that you could add the weird tones in and make a song around this riff that just has a different tonality. And so you're not trying to play as you normally would. You're trying to bring out the flavor of what this is.
And it was made right down the street.
Yes.
Performance guitar?
Cooney Sugai, who has worked on a lot of my dad's guitars over the years.
Built stuff for a lot of LA musicians.
Steve Vai and stuff. But he used to work at Fender, and he's a great guitar builder. And so I said, hey, can you stick some frets in between the frets? And he was pretty much asking me why, But
don't ask.
Sometimes that's really just the reason to do it, just because.
Very cool.
But it's one of those ones that is when you find the right sound to go with it, it'll be like, you go, that's a cool riff. You put like a really cool drum beat.
No.
And it's a simple riff, but like the personality.
No.
That's what I want. I want to do something not complicated, something cool and simple, but just lets the sound of what that is be the main thing.
I keep looking behind me at this gold top. That looks familiar. And it's got a bunch of cables coming out of it.
Well, good luck picking it up.
Oh, boy. That's no joke.
Yeah.
Here, I'm going to hand this over to you and let you hold that.
It's like, I didn't try weighing it, but I think it has to be like...
Plus 12. It's over 12 pounds.
This is like a really strange combination of things. So my dad was photographed quite a bit in the late 60s with a gold top that started with cream P90s. Mm-hmm. And then he went nuts on it, and he put a Telecaster pickup.
That's a Telecaster bridge pickup.
Yeah, and it changed to these black P90s. These are the knobs that are volume and tone for this, and then each one has its own volume and tone. And then you can decide to make it so you can switch just to this pickup if you want to hear just that sound, or you have a combination. There's also the way to knock it out of phase, you know, so I think it's
Out of phase seemed to be a big
yeah.
sound that your dad liked.
Yeah, it was definitely a sound that was used a lot. It was a really cool thing because a lot of times what he would do is he'd split his signal. So he would have like his guitar being recorded direct, and then he would go to an amp or maybe 2 amps. Even in the late 60s, he was doing weird experiments like that. It really added a weird character that put the guitar in a frequency range that you couldn't get otherwise. And
this just from like some old mod that was...
I think this was originally like a little switch.
Fader switch.
Yeah, instead of this. So I don't really know what was up with that, but this is how it was. But it has two
jacks.
Two jacks because one of them is for a piezo pickup. So we got to find a sound that is specific to this, which should be right around here.
Is the piezo just in the saddles?
It's in the bridge.
Yeah.
So that sound is meant to be kind of close to what this synth track, or what sounded like synth tracks, because it was multiple bass guitars tremolo picked playing these harmonies. So that's one of the things that I would use in conjunction with sounds that were coming from the keyboards on stage to get as close to the record as we could.
How many songs can you do with this 14-pound guitar in a row before you guys switch it out to something else?
Well, I was doing the whole show, the whole front half of the show, which was the whole Hot Rats album, and that's about a 48-minute
stretch with that.
Stretch, yeah, if your back can handle it.
Oh yeah.
Sounded like
that's like direct, just like a...
Yeah, because he would have used the DI in the studio, you know, and so there's like a tiny bit of like clipping added to it. So, and then you have the distorted amp part, which was in the studio like a little combo amp, and it was not a Fender. I don't remember the name. I saw a picture of it. I was like, I'd never even seen this amp before, and it wasn't one that he owned. But in the context of playing in the studio, and when we're trying to, that feels better though, right? Than
bad.
Yeah.
Can just roll right around it.
Yeah.
We've got another cool looking SG with some fun pickup things going on here. What is this?
You notice
guy?
anything different about it though on the neck?
Whoa. Wait, what the hell is that?
It's missing part of the frets.
It's like half fretless?
Half fretless.
What?
Well, the thing about this is, it's again, like I have a real interest in that sound of like Eastern music and the slidiness of fretless instruments, but I wanted to see if there was a way to be able to keep the low strings in tune and then have the flexibility to do the high strings. So
high E, B, and G are all on the fretless part of the neck. D, A, and E are all half fret.
Yeah. Let's see.
Did we do this for you, or
No.
you had to seek someone out to do this for you?
Well, Gabriel at Echo Park Guitars was the mad scientist that decided to give it a shot. You know, he ended up painting the guitar because this was a Roxy SG. This was an original Gibson.
From the Run.
Yeah, from the Run.
Yeah. What else is like a gold?
So,
like a gold foil DeArmond pickup or something right at the neck joint.
Yeah, so the thing that I was trying to experiment with is there's a Sustainiac in here, so that helps you when you're playing fretless. When you use a Sustainiac, you lose the neck pickup while you're using the Sustainiac. So I wanted to see if there was a way to blend some other kind of a pickup with it. And scientifically, you really can't with the magnetic field. It just creates crosstalk, noise, and then it ruins the sustain part.
Yeah.
Then I put like a piezo style pickup underneath this cover because it's not magnetic. So I was just trying to get another thing that I could blend in into the sound. So here it's on like just a clean kind of sound. So here we're hearing the Sustainiac, and these are flat wounds, and it's a real just direct sound.
It's very violin, bow.
But now,
So that pickup, that's doing all the work of keeping that note going while you play around with it.
Is, yeah. I love, having an instrument basically make you do something you wouldn't do otherwise. Like you have to react to it.
Yeah.
And this is one that, once I get it more dialed in, I think I'll have more fun with it. I have a special bridge that Fishman made for me because this has got a piezo pickup in it. But I have to, in order to be able to get it to be easier to play in tune down here and even play chords, the bridge is broken in half. So the low strings can stay here and then these can move even more
forward a little bit.
Because this is already pushed as far as it can go, but to intonate it to where you can feel like the note is actually in tune in the middle instead of on the fret line, this can't go far enough.
Yeah.
It'll be a work in progress. It's kind of a Frankenstein.
It's a beta test.
Frankenstein guitar, but I think it has a cool vibe to it.
Love the color.
Yeah, it's a really cool color. Again, that was done by Gabriel at Echo Park. So it's pretty unusual for a Gibson. If you look at it and go, that's a Gibson?
Yeah.
Doesn't look like a Gibson.
Doesn't look factory.
Yeah, not quite. Another one that has, and I think the problem with this one at the moment is it doesn't have the batteries in it. This one has all these different pickups.
I take it this started as a Roxy as well.
Yeah,
We got the
it started
natural-
as the Roxy, and then the same guy that did that silver P90 SG.
Pickup looks familiar.
So it was the Lucky Town Customs guy. So he stripped away the color, and then we tried to get like more of like a honeyburst kind of thing with this. But the wood that's used and that wood doesn't like to take other finishes all that well. But I think it actually has a pretty cool look to it.
Yeah, no, it looked cool on this, yeah.
What I really wanted to do with this was get some oddball, out of phase, thin, weird sounds that I couldn't get with any other guitar. And you can see there's two Strat style.
Ways.
So there's every possible weird combination.
So this is still a humbucker, I take
Yeah.
it? And then we have like a Dan Electro lipstick pickup, some kind of take on a D Armand, and like a Harmony Gold foil.
Yeah, and so
with all the switches and then 10 more varieties of switching. And, that's a rotary switch as well.
Of course, I mean, you can't not have a rotary switch on your guitar. So, but then this is a 6-way.
All right.
What I wanted to be able to do was at any time have anything on its own or combinations of, and then I wanted to be able to flip the phase or make them series, parallel, or whatever. So that's why. Yes, and have the piezo on its own volume knob. So the thing is, the rotary is set up so that when you're in one position, only this will change the pickups, and this gives you your 6-way combinations of things.
Ones and twos.
And then you can have, the series parallel stuff. And then this way gives you the combinations of this stuff. But so you're able to freely choose, or you can just have like one preset sound and say, yes.
I get it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It's like every catalog guitar pickup from the 1960s,
Yeah.
all crammed into one SG body. I love it.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like an SG, you know,
Yeah.
except in the bridge position, you can make it sound like an SG. But if you like SGs, you're not going to see another one like it, you know.
Yeah.
So, and if you don't like SGs, you probably hate this guitar.
Now, obviously, when you do Zappa Play Zappa, nailing the sounds is something you take incredibly seriously. Now, obviously, you did get to spend some time with your dad in the studio and stuff. How, on some of these things, how do you try and go back and break down something that got recorded with that much attention to detail during the recording and try and pull it off with the gear that you have in the rig?
Sometimes I would have had the benefit to hear the master tapes and hear, okay, there's 4 guitar tracks, what's on them? At one point in the 70s, his rig, which he called Ma Bell, because of these big towers of equipment and these patch cables and stuff, there's 5 channels of guitar, and they are all doing something different. And so some of them might have more mid-range, some of them might have less gain. One has a lot of gain. 2 DIs might be done differently. One has a lot of compression, the other one might have a flanger on it. And all of these things would get blended in various different ways so that you had this really 3-dimensional sound. And I was always wondering, how is he getting that sound? And it really was from the direct stuff just being mixed in just enough to give it that detail. And if he had a distorted sound, it was never just straight up a lot of sustain. It was, one would be on very little gain mixed in with another one with a sustain. So you could have a sound that would bloom in the speakers. Like one side might, the note might sustain more here than it does over here. I ended up with learning how to use the Fractal Axe effects, and you could do all of these things inside that unit, and you could create presets that were recallable. And I was able to get sounds that were actually almost identical to some of the stuff that is from the records. It made it easier, but it's that box in itself. If you want to go down the deep dive to really get to where you can make stuff sound super realistic, it takes time. That is the only guitar that I have that is what you would call a vintage stock guitar that, you know, it's a jazz guitar, which I'm not a jazz player, but I wanted to make an SG like a 335.
I remember you calling me on the phone and going, do you have one of those jazz guitars that has the horns like
Yeah.
an SG? And I'm like, yeah, I've got a couple of them. I think we had like 3 of them that day, and you came
Yeah.
out and played a bunch of them. So that is a Barney Kessel,
Yes.
probably like a 63 or 4, if I remember right.
Yeah, it probably still has all the info in the case.
Oh.
But this, yeah.
Barney Kessel standard.
Whoops. But yeah, this one, and it's got the same strings that it had that day. You know, this is kind of like a big SG, hollow body.
Yeah. The big headstock, that big Super 400 headstock.
It's pretty cool. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's a fun guitar.
but I mean, as we know, these kind of guitars have, you know, there's a smell to them. There's a whole texture.
Stinger. Love that stinger on the headstock.
Yeah. There's a whole thing to them, and it's just got a cool vibe to it.
And there's a few different models that are based on this shape. There's this is the Barney Kessel Standard. Then there's the Barney Kessel Custom, which has the ebony board and the music notes up on the headstock and the bow tie inlays. But this is also the second version, Trini Lopez
Yeah.
body. So there's like the 335 style Trini Lopez, and then there's this style Trini Lopez with the Firebird headstock on it. So we use this body shape. I it might be onto something with the whole big, thick, hollow body SG thing, because this is.
It would be a super cool guitar. I mean, it doesn't even need to be as big as this.
And this is a maple top one. Some of the early ones are spruce tops, but this is definitely more of the electric guitar player version of it than the jazzer spruce top version. But yeah, this could get your Ted. You could do some
Yeah.
serious Tedding with
Well, I
this
bet
guitar.
there, you know, you could get some crazy feedback from the thing, and but it's got a nice sound to it. I mean, if we plug it in and just play it on the real direct, clean sound here, it's got a real mellow sound to it. And that sounds like almost out of phase. Which,
Is that
Yeah, it
in
is.
the middle? Quack.
yeah, I like that, of course. I mean, that's
Getting around all right on it, yeah. Some jazzing. Wow, very, very cool. Love to see him again after I got to play him once. Still
Yeah.
never haven't had a strap button on there.
nope.
This is about as stock a Zappa guitar is.
It's something that I would like to just have handy so I could sit and write and play and strum some things on, because it would just make me play differently.
No. Very cool.
This is a pretty weird guitar.
And that's saying a lot.
Here's the story on this guitar. You know the song Smoke on the Water?
I'm familiar.
Okay, so in the song they say that Frank Zappa was
Yeah.
they were playing at the casino, right? Some stupid with a flare gun burned the place to the ground. So everything got burned to the ground. All my dad's equipment got trashed.
yeah.
You know, they had nothing to use. There was some guy in Switzerland at the time that met my dad and said, "Hey, I got a guitar. You could borrow it if you want." And it was this guitar. So my dad apparently had the guitar for a few years, and he did this to it, which I had never even seen a picture of this guitar.
I'm just trying to figure out how this ended up. Oh, I guess it's an. This was an SG Junior.
It used to be a single
Single pickup
yeah.
SG. So that's
Yeah.
why there was no holes for the studs, because it was a wrap tail.
Yeah. So this was the guitar that my dad finished the tour on. I don't really know. Like, I've not played this guitar much. We should plug it in and see what it sounds
It's
like.
like on-offs for each
I'm
pickup,
not,
or
I'm not even sure. I mean, now does that sound like an SG?
no?
So it seems like, I don't know what this one does, but these seem like on-off switches for the pickups. So
Yeah. Yeah. So you got an on-off for each pickup.
you would never hear that and go, "That's an SG."
Yeah. Oh, it's wild. Ah. So yeah, SG Junior originally. All sorts of fun.
But it has a really interesting sound. Another custom Strat.
That's fun.
So this one,
Your obsession with the cutoff pickup.
yep, that's right, that's right. It was buzzing, but we'll see.
Whoa, what was?
That's I use these magnetic things so that it's easier to change guitars. Like if I need a straight versus a right angle.
Oh, you just pick it for the guitar and then
Yeah.
just.
Yeah.
What's going on with these pickups? Because they got like this silver foil kind of.
Yeah, that's it's Tim McNelly was the same guy that in that silver SG.
Yeah.
Some of his pickups again. But there's something weird about this one where it really does like an almost Octavia sound.
Overtone, yeah.
So that's was like a happy accident. Like we didn't
Cool.
decide, hey, can you
Make
make
it
this
sound like
yeah.
an Octavia above the 12 fret.
But the tuning for it. For non-locking, it's
That's pretty good.
it's a pretty impressive thing. It's when you're not using it, it's like a hardtail. So you have to actually press it into use. So like the feel of it is not as wiggly as like some tremolos
Yeah.
can be. It's almost more like a feel of a Bigsby.
Yeah, you got to really engage it and then.
Yeah. But you can pull it up. This one is, it's another really custom builder, Ronin guitars. Have you ever seen
Yeah, I
the-
remember John Shanks had a few of these when we were doing his with these big, wide gold foil pickups.
Yeah, and they have like a built-in piezo style thing, but it's not a battery operated one, it's a passive thing. And so it's got a really cool sound, which we can hear. But what I love about this guitar is feel how light this thing is.
Oh, that's like 4 or 5 of these to get to that Les Paul. That's great.
Yeah.
Cool knobs too.
Yeah, these guys pay very close attention to detail, and they've got that futuristic retro thing that is so appealing.
Yeah, what
Yes.
do these pickups sound like?
You know, we're hearing them basically direct right now with this kind of sound, which is a good way to get an idea of what they sound like. That little spank of the
piezo,
yeah,
okay.
and it feels alive because
Yeah. So the piezo is in the
it's built into the
it's
guitar.
built into the body, which is
Yeah.
why you're getting that
Yeah,
percussive thing happening.
yeah, but it's a nice you know, texture to be able to have and blend together, and it's just such a cool design. Like I love when people take things to that artistic level, and it also sounds good. You know,
Yeah. The pick guard on the top.
Yeah.
Instead of under the strings, it's above the strings.
Yeah,
and
it's
it's a
super
nice
cool.
contrast to the 14.5-pound gold top.
Yeah, for sure. So on the last tour, this was the relief.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
You know, from that one.
When did you first get to meet Eddie, and how did that happen?
So it's pretty crazy because I was 12 years old. I had been playing guitar for maybe 7, 8, 9 months max. I don't remember exactly. But I was listening only to Fair Warning and Van Halen 1. That was just on a loop, like we switched from one to
two
the
good
other.
ones. It's
Yeah,
worth
just
being on a
like
loop.
just
Yeah.
going. And I was listening to some Ozzy Osbourne with Randy Rhoads, like Diary of a Madman and stuff like that. But one day, out of nowhere, the phone rang. Pick up the house line, and you don't know who it is. So my mom picks it up, and it's some guy purporting to be Edward Van Halen. But of course, I want this person to be Edward Van Halen because,
Yeah.
you know, that's the coolest thing ever. And my dad ends up getting on the phone. They talk for a few minutes, and then 15 minutes later, he's at the house.
Wow.
So it was Eddie Van Halen, and he shows up at the house, and at the bottom of the staircase, there's some kind of lighting. So he's backlit, and he's coming up the stairs, and he's carrying a guitar, and it's not in a case, it's just he's holding the guitar. And for me, it was like he was backlit with a smoke machine and like
Slow motion,
yeah,
but
and
yeah.
you know, and Mean Streets is already playing, you know, so he's walking up the steps, and it turns out he's in the Women and Children First jumpsuit, you know, and he's got this guitar, and it's a Kramer guitar before he was talking about endorsing Kramer. So there's a piece of tape over the headstock logo, and it's a purple guitar with 2 humbuckers in it. And without even really getting into the hi, how are you kind of stuff, it's like, okay, play Eruption, you know, because it was this amazing moment of, here's this guy that I've heard so much, never seen up close. When you see how somebody really does what they do, where they play it, what strings they're playing it on, like that was burned into my mind. There was no way I would ever forget exactly what he played. That was just the coolest experience until the next coolest experience that came, you know, a few weeks later. Check this thing out. This right here, this is gonna blow your mind, I'm guessing, because originally it's a Kramer, right? So 12-year-old me was playing in a talent show at my school. I don't know exactly how this happened because I had nothing to do with arranging this, but Edward Van Halen came to my sound check. Right? I'm playing Running with the Devil with my 12-year-old buddies,
Yeah.
right? I'm not only playing one chord wrong, but my guitar's not staying in tune. And so Ed drives home, comes back with this guitar, which originally was, you can see this like cream color that's kind
Yeah.
of in here. It was cream colored with an orange lightning bolt, like Shazam. He brings that guitar back and he puts it on me, He says, "You're playing it wrong." And he stands behind me. And so the guitar's on me like it is now. He stands behind me. He counts it off with the kids. And he does the pick slide, the whole thing. It was the craziest experience. Now, this is before MTV or anything. Like, you would have never known what rock stars look like or sounded like unless you met them in this situation. You would only have pictures from magazines or what was on the album. After the show, the next day, I called him and thanked him, and I said, "Hey, if you want to come grab the guitar, oh no, you can keep that guitar." So I kept the guitar. I painted it. This was like my homage to the Schwinn bicycle style painting of Van Halen-esque guitars. And I painted it like this when I was 13.
Amazing. What pickup?
This is a Tom Anderson pickup.
Really?
Yeah, and I screwed it straight in.
Straight to the body,
You
man.
got to, yeah. And then, of course, corporate rock still sucks. SST record. That was just, this made sense at the time. Probably still
makes sense now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any really special memory since his passing that keeps coming up to you that kind of how you remember?
Well, the thing about Ed, he was the first person that called me when my dad died. It's emotional because when you have, it doesn't matter who it is, when you have friends that step up and do something for you, it matters.
No.
But it was unexpected that it would be him who would call me first at like 5:15 in the morning. And he's like, "Hey, what can I do?" He was a guy that was inspired in the moment, and he would just go for something. If it had to happen right then, he would just do it, But I think that's an amazing quality, and that's something that I actually, I learned from that myself as well, because if you're inspired and you can see, like, you can get from point A to point B, and it's like, it's exactly the thing you need to do, why waste time? Why not just do it right now?
Moving down the row here, what do we got?
This one is a Shabbat. It's a similar color to that fretless.
SG, half-fretted SG.
Fretless, yeah. But it's a little beat up, and but this guy, he's making some of the best guitars around, really. The neck, feel the neck on this thing.
That's, I'm not sure what's on there. Some kind of oil
It's
or
like
something.
I think he said it's a gun oil finish, but it is a really nice feeling neck.
Yeah, it feels great.
And, for a straight out of the box kind of Strat, it feels well worn. And
How often do you find yourself going back? Do you ever have like a Super Strat renaissance at all? Or are you kind of settled into these guitars now, and that's what you do?
Well, of course I grew up in the era where Van Halen was, the biggest band in the world. And at 12 years old, starting to play guitar, Fair Warning was my favorite album. And you can't get more Super Strat than a Van Halenized Strat.
That's kind of the pinnacle of that tone too.
And so for me, I was always really into that kind of sound because that's just what I listened to so much. I love my dad's music, but I knew it was really complicated and it was going to take me some time to learn. There will never not be a time when I hear Mean Street or Unchained and just be like, that's the power of rock.
That's the tone
yeah,
right there.
That's the power of rock. I need to play.
We got more cases on the floor here. You know what's in these?
I don't. One I do. I know what's in that the soft bag, but these other ones I don't know because I'm really bad at marking what's in them. So
It's a surprise for both of us.
yeah,
man.
let's see. I'm guessing it's a
Les Paul-ish.
yeah, probably.
adjacent.
This is the one that is the cover of Shut Up and Play Your Guitar. This is my dad's Les Paul. It's had different pickups in it before. On the cover, it's got DiMarzio's, the cream colored ones.
Yes, those were
But I actually don't.
Bartolini's or
I don't really
Carvins or
know.
something.
I don't think they're Carvins. He did have a Carvin in here at one point, but
Is this another one that weighs in the?
it's about 4,000 pounds.
Yeah. Well, that's of the era. and I'm sure
But
there's a
this
couple of
one-
other
Yeah.
preamp in here.
Yeah, this one has the rotary switch, and this is kind of like wah positions. So
Like
this
different,
yeah,
like Cox of the Walk
yeah.
kind of sound.
And then this one has it's got a parametric EQ in it, as well as a gain circuit. At one point, this guitar was set up to go through some synth modules, which I do not have those synth modules, nor do I have the cable.
to attach.
So it's been customized a lot of different ways. Starting in around 1980, this became one of his favorite guitars to play, but he mostly played it sitting on a stool. 'Cause it's
I can see why,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
so heavy. The very first live broadcast concert ever done was my dad's show on MTV, where they did a show at the Palladium. It was a Halloween concert, and this was the guitar that he played. But I always remembered it sitting around in the studio. It was kind of his go-to guitar after the Roxy SG. This was like,
This was number 2.
this was the one that he played all the time. And I've got heavier strings on it right now, but it was, again, like super, he used to use these Maxima gold strings, and it was like 8 through 40 or something. It was really light.
Any particular reason why he just liked the feel of?
He wanted to be able to bend 5 or 6 frets, 5 or 6 steps without, ripping the skin off his fingers. But yeah, it's a really heavy guitar, and I do remember, always seeing him play it around the house and stuff. I'm checking the tuners.
Yeah, there's some special Schallers or something.
It's hard to read under the lights. Is it Ibanez? It looks like.
Ibanez tuners.
That's what it looks like. Does that look like
Yeah.
Ibanez to you? Yeah.
Yeah. No. See this one? Oh, dude, it's close. It's a toss-up. They're,
This one feels worse.
yeah, the Bigsby might be giving you a couple extra ounces on this one. Neither
Yeah.
one are light.
Yeah.
Here.
I do know what's in this one. This is an acoustic guitar. I'm pretty certain it's the only acoustic guitar that my dad had that he could have electrified in order to play the solo on Peaches on Regalia.
Ooh, J160E.
Yep.
Is this on the
It's a Barkus Berry extra.
contact pickup? or-
Yep.
Got the second input jack here on the side.
Yep.
Did your dad play a lot of acoustic guitar?
There's only a couple of songs that have featured acoustic guitar. One of them is called Sleep Dirt, and that was on this Martin that he had. Because you have the electronic part of it, he was able to do the stuff with the phaser and the envelope filter stuff. But there's probably not too many other acoustic guitar things. There's some stuff on the Grand Wazoo that had some acoustic, and there's some strummy stuff on like the early records where it's like rhythm playing. But, but it's nice.
A lot of people don't know this pickup on the J160E. This is actually just a regular standard Gibson P90, just in a different case. This is the same pickup it would have been in a Les Paul Jr. or a Special or anything like that, just in this different plastic casing to make the profile a little bit less to fit at the neck, but you can still see the whole bottom plate and all that kind of stuff in there. They sound killer. Really cool guitars.
Yeah.
Like late 60s.
Yeah, it's a super thin or
68,
small,
69, somewhere
small
in there.
neck. But yeah, at some point, a heavier set of strings was put on it. But when he was doing the Peaches thing, he was able to bend this. It was an electric style, non-wound G-string.
G-string.
This one, I bet, is marked correctly because it's probably been on the road. And this is most likely the Roxy guitar with the Sustainiac in it. This is the one where the headstock was broken and then it was fixed by... Yeah.
Fine folks at Sweetwater.
It was. They did a great job. And then, oddly enough, like not even a year later, my wife was playing this guitar. She was learning how to play the song Muffin Man, and she set it on this little, like, sofa style thing in the house. And when she got up, it just slipped and fell and then broke it again. It didn't come completely off, but the Cooney had to put it back together.
It's got stories.
This one, this is probably the most played guitar, other than that first walnut-looking one. What's cool about it, though, is the Sustainiac gives you so many options for things, but ultimately, I played this one probably at 90% of the shows over the last 6 years, 6 years.
That's the go-to.
Yeah. So you're gonna like this one.
Oh, I like that.
Turn it around.
What is this?
I call it a Stratelecaster.
Again with the chopped off guard.
Yeah.
I like the aesthetic. Again with the Trim King.
Yeah.
Tell me what's going on here with the pickups and switching.
So it's all McNelly pickups again. The thing about this one is you can have either or the combination of, and it is such a, I mean, we just got to hear it because it's a really cool sound. But yeah, it's got a real cool combination of things that you can do. Some Strat and Tele combos out of it, so.
Very cool.
You gotta have a little fun with design sometimes. It says it's a white Strat, so it might be. Yep.
Yeah.
So this is like one of the Jimi Hendrix model guitars, but I sanded the head, the neck, so that it had a more just raw wood style finish on the back. And this has a really cool, the Vega Trem. Now this is, the Vega Trem is really pretty clever. Like these guys from Spain figured out a way to do something unique with the tremolo. Now this has this kind of great feel of a real kind of bouncy trem. What's different about it is it looks really small, and it is designed that way so that when you put it on a regular Fender tremolo, you can just you don't have to do anything to make any changes to your guitar.
No modifications.
You just drop this right in, and it has the ability to go up or down because it's so small that it fits inside the
cavity,
normal cavity. So they did a really clever bit of design work there. Try it out. The feel of the tremolo is like, it's one of the best feeling tremolos out there. And it's really responsive to, like any subtle
Yeah, that's smooth. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, they do an amazing job. I don't know if you can see how...
It's so thin.
Yeah, but look at, if you watch it move in that space, you can go all the way down, but then you can also go all the way up with it. Now this is one that also probably requires batteries, but
Another fretless guitar with the Sustainiac and
auto-tune.
auto-tune built on the guitar.
Auto-tune built into the guitar. Now they made a unit, an auto-tune unit that could give you any kind of tuning that you ever wanted, you know, so you can have like instant access, press a button, and have any kind of
like the
specialty
Variax
tuning.
kind of technology.
Yeah, what I wanted to try to do with this thing was I wanted to see if I could train the auto-tune thing to reasonably make chords be in tune without having it, you know, do too much.
Yeah.
So I haven't played around with it enough to totally get it there, but this guitar, I mean, you know, you look at it and you're like, okay, I'm in trouble already because there's not even a fret line, you know.
Yeah, that is, yeah.
There's also a way to get power to the guitar that way so that you don't have to use the
All
two
of the
batteries.
batteries.
And the two batteries tend to not, I mean, look at the route on the back of this thing. The two batteries tend to only last about 30 minutes. You know, it's something about what's going on in here is eating up batteries really fast. So
Still have the little homage to,
yeah,
to
well,
Roxy there.
it started as a Roxy.
Wow, ebony board with no marker, fretless.
Yeah. I don't even know if this is actually ebony because, you know, there was that embargo and all that stuff.
It might be Rich Light.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, if you think about guitars that Gibson has made, this is not one you would expect.
That's a one of one. Yeah, that's one of one.
It's a one of two because I have,
yeah,
I have another
I stand
one.
corrected.
Yeah.
So you're always into the new technologies, chasing things here in the studio, new ways of mixing. What else have you been working on that's cool and groundbreaking?
Well, the thing is, we normally would be doing a lot of touring. We would do 80 to 100 shows a year.
Yeah.
And a lot of musicians, they've been used to being able to perform live. It's something they do, and that's their way of having a predictable income from what they do. But with the pandemic, that all went away. Nobody knows if it will ever come back to normal.
And what normal will ever
Yeah.
be again. Yeah.
Right. So during this downtime, it became important to find a way to help people, musicians and content creators, engineer producers, people in the music industry that need a way to reach their audience directly and find a way for them to make that connection and understand that if they're able to find their core audience and connect with them directly and have a simple way to do that, make it very artist forward so that an artist can get 100% of every sale. So there's a platform called Reward Music that we launched in September. On Reward Music, you can subscribe to them directly. An artist can say, okay, I have a subscription and it's $30 a year or $2.50 a month, right? That's less than a cup of coffee somewhere. It just takes 700 people to subscribe to an artist for them to beat minimum wage.
The same amount of millions of spins on
700
Spotify.
people subscribing at $2.50 a month is $16,800. So an artist can think, wait a minute, I could get 700 people, but could I get 7,000 people? Yeah, I probably could. 7,000 people is $168,000. Instead of trying to cast the widest net to say, let me try to make pennies or $1 from 1 million people or more, create a better experience for your fans, a curated experience. You know, so this is the whole point, was to try to do something that could help people and create a turnkey business solution where they have all the tools they need to broadcast live, to host a podcast, to do anything they can where they can work from home and reach people and have that direct connection.
Just go right to the artist.
Yeah, really, you're just going straight to the artist.
Oh, that's great. New patronage of the arts, really. Rewardmusic.com.
Rewardmusic.com, check it out.
Well, dude, that was a lot of fun. I really want to thank you.
No problem.
For opening the place up to us. And
Sure.
I got to work on my half-fretted guitar playing. So
Me too.
Next time I see you,
Yeah, me
we
too.
can jam.
We'll get that Cooney yellow one out, and we'll do something crazy with that
We'll
one.
have some fun with the microtones. As
Yes,
well.
microtonal music is the future.
It's the future. Dude, thanks again for having
you,
us.
no problem.
Thank you guys for watching. I'm Mark Agnesi for Gibson TV. We'll see you guys next time on another episode of The Collection. Half tones.
Yeah.
Tones.